ज्ञातिमिदस्य ज्ञानजलाशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. All right. So thank you all the devotees for allowing me to serve you all, and apologies for the late joining. Somehow I think this 4:50 time is actually quite early, so I get a bit late every time, 10 minutes, 10 to 50 minutes. So my apologies for that. Um, okay, so this is a continuation of the last class, and I will just recap it briefly. What we had discussed about the importance of chanting the holy name. How can we actually chant the holy name purely? There were many points that we discussed, and some of them are that the foundation of the entire process of Krishna consciousness, which includes the holy name also, is the shelter of Guru and to follow the instructions of Guru. And of course, taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. Then we also discussed about how hearing actually is most important, at least in the beginning stages of sadhana. So Prabhupada also states this in his purports couple of times that amongst all the limbs of bhakti, Shravanam is the most important. And even compared to the chanting actually will take precedence when we perfect it, when we start chanting purely. But as long as we are covered with anarthas and we have selfish motives, then we definitely have to hear regularly. And we have to hear from our Gurujan, especially from pure devotees who have pure desire to serve the Lord. And this is what Prabhupada says, like he compares all the limbs and then he says that Shravanam is the most important. And then Jeev Goswami also states the same thing in his Bhakti Sandarbh that hearing is explained before chanting another process, because without hearing, one will not know the other processes. So we have Navida Bhakti, and these are different processes to approach the Lord. But you cannot perform the other devotional services nicely unless you hear properly from advanced devotee. And then Srila Prabhupada states the importance of chanting the holy name attentively, which basically means that whenever you chant the holy name, the most important principle is that you have to remember the Lord. Uh, it should not be mechanical, and it should not be just a sound vibration, but it should be actually focused on the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes. So it actually occurs in sequence. So when we take shelter of the holy name, if we are attentive in our sadhana, if we are following the process properly, then naturally the chanting of the name will actually reveal the form of the Lord, and then that form will also reveal the qualities of the Lord, and finally it will lead to the pastimes of the Lord. So this is what consistently all our acharyas they have explained to us. Many times devotees have this question that why are we not getting taste in chanting the holy name, and why do we feel bored when we chant japa? So Sankirtan is like very blissful. It is, I think, very dynamic in nature, very involving in nature because we are participating also. And so I think one of the main reasons why it feels like that is because not of the name, not because of the name, but it is mainly because of the music. Because like when we hear very nice music, then automatically it will inspire us. And so we have to be extremely cautious that we are attracted to the holy name, but not the externals of that. And one litmus test to measure this is to actually have taste in japa. That's why our acharyas and the Goswamis they have recommended both Sankirtan as well as japa, because japa is your testimony to your holy name, the taste in the holy name, whereas your Sankirtan is concentrated effort. It's a unanimous effort, and you will not be able to realize how much taste you have in the holy name unless you actually start chanting the holy name in isolation privately. So these were some of the points, and then the five most potent forms of bhakti, the limbs of bhakti, which are the sadhu sang, of course, Harinam, sadhu sang. Then we have Dhamvas, we have deity worship, and then we have Srimad Bhagavatam. So these, according to Rupa Goswami, these are the most important limbs of bhakti out of, and the most potent also. So these limbs of bhakti will actually help us to take shelter of the holy name purely, and it will bring us to the pure chanting of the holy name. But without that, in Kali Yuga, it is like extremely difficult to come to the level of pure chanting because we are covered with aparats. Yeah, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emphasis on Nam Ruchi Vaishnava Seva Jeev. The same principle is also stated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, um, that you want taste in the holy name, then you have to render Vaishnava Seva, and then you have to also uplift the fallen souls. So you have to basically try to preach to non-devotees. So it works simultaneously. When you serve the devotees, we get their mercy, and that mercy will enhance our commitment to the holy name, our uh, taste in the holy name. It will enhance our faith in the holy name also. So that is extremely important. Lord Govind Maharaj also said that in Kali Yuga, there is nothing called as perfection which is achieved through sadhana. Okay. Um, Basically, our whatever sadhana we are doing, we are trying to attract the mercy of a pure devotee. Like for example, when Prabhupada is giving the process that we have to follow, 16 rounds, and then preach Krishna consciousness, follow the greater principles, we do it as a service to him. Uh, Not that we think that okay, we have accomplished something, because 16 rounds as a sadhana is nothing. Even chanting more names also, it does not indicate strong sadhana. Uh, the ideal sadhana is not practically possible. Uh, that level of sadhana, which was demonstrated by our Goswamis, Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, it's not possible for us to imitate that. So what we do is we take a humble position and we strive more to attain the mercy of our Vaishnava Acharyas. Through that mercy only we attain pure chanting of the holy name. So this is very important that we need to understand. Okay, I think there is a question which is part of five limbs. Yeah, so that's the first is Harinam, then second is Sadhu Sang, third is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is basically we have to hear that and we have to associate with Bhagavad devotees. Fourth is Dhamvas or the worship of Tulsi, and the fifth is deity worship. Okay, just 1 second because no one is at home, so I will just come and open the door and come back. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So these are the five limbs of bhakti. Okay. So even Sripad Ayendra Prabhu, he has compared Yug Dharma to Harinam Sankirtan and Japa as our private chanting as Nikunj Leela. And we had a prolonged discussion in the last class. There were some questions about whether we should chant together or we should chant in isolation. So I was just sharing my opinion that I think it is, of course, like we in Kali Yuga, it is always good to have association of devotees for everything. But at the same time, every devotee has to contribute individually also. And for that, every devotee must go deep into their own sadhana also, which means that privately also you need to test your sadhana. How much attentive you are able to chant the holy names when you are alone. And it's a as I shared you that with you that japa is basically a Nikunj Leela, which means that it's your personal connection, private connection with Radha and Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So uh, it needs to be done privately, individually. And then I was also recommending that, of course, you can chant with devotees also. But I think, and I think what if I remember, it was Shamrasika Mataji who was stating that. So we chant with devotees, so we remain awake. But that is not the goal of our chanting. The I mean, I think we have to surpass that stage at some point of time. So if you need help to be awake, then yeah, maybe it's good for you to chant in association of devotees at least for some period of time. But then, how do you surpass that stage? That's another question, because finally you have to connect the name with the Lord, which means that you have to remember the form of the Lord. You have to, I mean, these things will come naturally. Prabhupada said like that. Prabhupada says that the name should lead one to remembering the form of the Lord, and then the form will uh, reveal the qualities, and then finally the pastimes. So I think a very advanced devotee who is chanting the holy name will chant the holy name, and he will remember many pastimes. I mean, that will come simultaneously. It's not that he'll meditate forcefully on a particular pastime. It will all occur naturally to him. That's a very advanced state, of course, but this is the sequence. So now, what does it mean that when you chant the holy name, you see the Lord, form of the Lord? That occurs at the stage of bhav, right? And I think I have shared with all of you that at the stage of bhav, the Lord's Ladini and Samvit Shakti will enter our heart. And because of that, our body becomes spiritualized. So basically, you can say that we have got two bodies. Like, we have this material gross body, and then internally develop spiritual body, because you cannot see the Lord without developing a spiritual body. So with that spiritual body, you see the Lord, and then you also have some kind of reciprocation with the Lord. That is only possible at the stage of bhav. So when you chant the holy name, you see the Lord. You see the form of the Lord. That's the stage of bhav, which means that you see the Lord directly in front of you, in your heart, basically. And then gradually you enter you start appreciating the qualities of the Lord, and then finally you enter the pastimes of the Lord. Gaur Govind Maharaj once said that not just that, but you even realize your own swarup with the Lord when you attain perfection in chanting the holy name purely. Okay. Now, what it means at sadhaka stage, this is bhava and prema. This is no longer sadhana stage. This is two different stages. Okay. What happens at sadhaka stage? How do we perceive name revealing the form, qualities, and pastimes? So, what does it mean? It means that when you chant the name, your mind will be uh, captured with the form of the Lord. You will naturally remember Krishna's form, and that would also mean deity form or some form that you are most attracted to. So that form will appear in your mind naturally. That form will appear in your mind, and then it will. Uh, Now, how the qualities and the pastimes of the Lord are revealed to you, that is only possible when you actually hear and read sufficiently about the Lord. So let's say for example, if you have not read Krishna book, if you do not know Krishna's pastimes, it's not going to possible that maybe you may be able to remember the form of the Lord, but you'll not be able to go ahead. And that's why it is very rightly stated that Shravanam is actually the most important element of bhakti. Uh, Bhakti begins with Shravanam. And in the Navvida Bhakti process also, you'll see that it starts with Shravanam. It does not start with chanting. Okay. So Shravanam, you hear sufficiently. Prabhupada says in one purport that unless one sufficiently hears from one spiritual master, he cannot perform any other limb of bhakti properly. So you hear sufficiently about Krishna, about his Leela, Tattvas, everything. And then when you chant the holy name, so that is Kirtan. So Shravanam, then Kirtanam. And then this process together will lead you to Smaranam naturally. Okay. So this is the meaning of that. Now, without knowing Krishna's pastimes, you cannot even actually remember Krishna's pastimes. It's a different thing that if you are at the stage of bhav, then Krishna will manifest pastimes for you, because you are seeing the Lord directly. You are in the association of the Lord. So the Lord can actually manifest, and you can see it face to face. But we are at the sadhaka stage where we need to take help of the mind. And the best form of smaranam, according to Brihad Bhagavatamrit, is actually not smaranam in itself, but chanting the holy name. Yeah, okay. Oh, I just forgot to share the Bhagavatam puppet in the beginning. So let's start with the Bhagavatam puppet. All right, let me share the screen. Okay, so reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 49. Niyamano hare nama kridan putro pacharitam ajamilo api agadhama kim uttashadaya grinan. Synonyms: Niyamana at the time of death, Hare Nam, the holy name of Hari, Grinan, chanting, Putra Upa Charitam, indicating his son, Ajamil, Api, even Agat went, Dham to the spiritual world, Kim, Uta, what to speak of, Shraddhaya, with faith and love, Grinan chanting. Translation: while suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, and although the chanting was directed toward his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distantly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distantly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be properly able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead without a doubt. I just want to share a couple of points. So, although, see, it is mentioned in the translation that Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, and although it was indirect chanting, but he returned back home, back to Godhead. So, one thing I would like to clarify is that actually he did not return back home, back to Godhead just by chanting the holy name. That I think is very evident from the pastime of Ajamil, because you see that he is about to die, and then the Yamdutas come, and then in order to protect Ajamil, the Vishnudutas come. So the Vishnudutas and Yamdutas, they have a confrontation, and then the Vishnudutas, they defeat Yamdutas and establish the glories of the holy name. And then Ajamil is given a second birth, right? So one thing has to be very clear, because many devotees have this question also, that can we just by chanting the holy name, can we go back to Godhead? Um, it is also important to be, what is your consciousness at the time of death. Like for example, a Mayavadi can chant the holy name. It may be possible that a Mayavadi can chant the holy name at the time of death if he's practicing strictly some, following some regulated schedule. It may be possible for a Mayavadi also to chant the holy name at the time of death. But what is his intention? His intention is actually he's basically offending the holy name. Although he's chanting the holy name, he's offending the holy name. And so similarly, for any devotee, whatever state they remember at the time of death, that will actually take them forward to the next step. Of course, the chanting is definitely going to give benefit to them. But here also we see that Ajamil indirectly chanted. He did not have any offenses, not a single offense. But he had to take another birth, in the sense that he was given another chance. I'm sorry, not birth, but another chance. So what he did, then he finally, I think he went to Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then he practiced the process of bhakti very strictly, sincerely in the association of devotees, and then finally he attained prema, and then he went back to Godhead. So according to our scriptures, our Goswamis, they say that only at the state of prema one can actually go back to Godhead, not before that. I mean, bhav is also there, but generally prema. Okay. Uh, so one thing is very important. Yes, even though Prabhupada does mention that one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead, but that chanting has to be pure chanting. And when you come to the state of pure chanting, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, what is the need of chanting constantly also? Even one syllable of the holy name can actually make you attain the lotus feet of the Lord. So that we need to understand. So constant chanting, now, okay, the question is that why are we chanting constantly? So, okay, another question comes up in this is that are we chanting constantly, first of all, as initiated devotees? How many devotees are initiated here? And how many are chanting constantly? So, of course, we have to chant 16 rounds. Okay. So, is that chanting, can it be said that it is constant chanting? Yeah, it is because it's a regulated practice. Okay. And whenever, because we are chanting regularly every day, every single day. So that is constant. So it does not mean that every single second, every millisecond you have to chant the holy name. No, it is a regulated form of chanting. That is called constant chanting. So now the question is, coming to the first question, why are we chanting constantly? Why are we asked to practice chanting constantly? So the answer is because we commit aparadhs. And because we commit aparadhs, that's why we need to chant constantly. Now, why do we need to chant constantly? In order, because we are committing aparadhs, because chanting constantly will nullify the aparadhs that we are committing unknowingly, unintentionally. And so these are not serious Vaishnava aparadhs, and this is not the aparadh to the holy name, which is to commit sinful activities on the strength of holy name. So except these two, all other offenses that we commit in the process, they are nullified by constant chanting of the name. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur also in Jai Dharma, he quotes this from Padma Puran, and he says that just by taking shelter of the holy name, all the aparadhs that are there will also get absolved. Okay, so these are some important insights from our acharyas. Now let's go to the supplementary note to this chapter. I selected this purport because it had this wonderful explanation by Srila Vishwanath Thakur, and I think this is not given by Srila Prabhupada, but the BBT has added this, included this in the text. Okay, so now this is very interesting. Please hear attentively. Srila Vishwanath Thakur's commentaries to text number 9 and 10 of this chapter form a dialogue concerning how one can become free from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Someone may say it may be accepted that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one becomes freed from all the reactions of sinful life. However, if one commits sinful acts in full consciousness, not only once but many, many times, he is unable to free himself from the reactions of such sins, even after atoning for them for 12 years or more. How is it possible then that simply by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, one immediately becomes freed from reactions of such sins? Srila Vishwanath Thakur replies by quoting uh, verses 9 and 10 of this chapter. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a brahmana, or for one who indulges in sex with the wife of his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons may attract the attention of Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. One may atone for sinful life and vanquish all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name, although this is not called atonement. Ordinary atonement may temporarily protect a sinful person, but it does not completely cleanse his heart of the deep-rooted desire to commit sinful acts. Therefore, atonement is not as powerful as the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the Shastra, it is said that if a person only once chants the holy name and completely surrenders unto the lotus feet of Lord, the Lord immediately considers him his ward and is always inclined to give him protection. This is confirmed by Sridhar Swami. Thus, when Ajamil was in great danger of being carried off by the orders of couriers of Yamraj, the Lord immediately sent his personal order carriers to protect him, and because Ajamil was free from all sinful reactions, the Vishnuduta spoke on his behalf. Ajamil had named his son Narayan, and because he loved the boy very much, he would call him again and again. Although he was calling for his son, the name itself was so powerful because the name Narayan is not different from Supreme Lord Narayan. When Ajamil named his son Narayan, all the reaction of his sinful life were neutralized. And he continued calling his son and thus chanting the holy name of Narayan thousands of times. He was actually unconsciously advancing in Krishna consciousness. One may argue, since he was constantly chanting the name of Narayan, how was it possible for him to be associating with a prostitute and thinking of wine? By his sinful actions, he was bringing suffering upon himself again and again. And therefore, one may say that this ultimate chanting of Narayan was the cause of his being freed. However, his chanting would then have been a Nam Aparadh. Namno balad yasyahi papa buddhi. One who continues to act sinfully and tries to neutralize his sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is a Nam Aparadhi, an offender to the holy name. In response, it may be said that Ajamil's chanting was inoffensive because he did not chant the name of Narayan with the purpose of counteracting his sins. He did not know that he was addicted to sinful actions, nor did he know that his chanting of the name of Narayan was neutralizing them. Thus, he did not commit a Nam Aparadh, and his repeated chanting of the holy name of Narayan while calling his son may be called pure chanting. Because of this pure chanting, Ajamil unconsciously accumulated the results of bhakti. Indeed, even his first utterance of the holy name was sufficient to nullify all the sinful reactions of his life. To cite a logical example, a fig tree does not immediately yield fruits, but in time the fruits are available. Similarly, Ajamil's devotional service grew little by little, and therefore, although he committed very sinful acts, the reactions did not affect him. In the Shastra, it is said that if one chants the holy name of the Lord, even once, the reactions of past, present, or future sinful life do not affect him. To give another example, if one extracts the poison fangs of a serpent, this saves the serpent's future victims from poisonous effects, even if the serpent bites repeatedly. Similarly, if a devotee chants the holy name even once inoffensively, this protects him eternally. He need only wait for the results of the chanting to mature in due course of time. All right. So, very interesting. Now, if you read the actual purport by Srila Vishwanath Thakur in his commentary to this particular verse, I think text 9 and 10, which was quoted here, so it gives very elaborate and very clear explanation. And one question is that Ajamil continued to perform sinful activities. So how is it that he was still to be considered saintly and he was offenseless in his demeanor? And the answer given is that, and Prabhupada, I mean, I don't know if this is Prabhupada or the translation which is shared here, but it says that the very first name that Ajamil chanted, the very first time he chanted the name of Narayan, destroyed all his past, present, and future karmas. Now we understand about past and present karmas, but then what is the meaning of future karmas? So future karma means the karmas that we have not even started doing. All these karmas, the reaction of these karmas, they were all destroyed. That is the potency of the holy name. Now, the acharyas they specifically state that there was not even a single tinge of offense when he chanted the stage of Namabhas. So one thing we need to understand, when the name is chanted with aparats, then your karma will take longer time to be destroyed. It won't be destroyed easily. In fact, it can regain new karmas. So one karma may lead to another karma. It can entangle you actually. So it's very dangerous. In fact, of course, bhakti, by aparad you destroy bhakti, whereas by sin you can destroy your pious credits. Okay, it does not have any influence on bhakti. The impious activities, the sinful activities, it does not have any influence on bhakti. But if you commit aparad, then that aparad will destroy your bhakti. Not just destroy bhakti, but it may also incur you karmas, some unknown karmas, or karmas may reappear. Okay, so that's why now Ajamil did not accept a guru. That's the first thing that Vishwanath Thakur says in context of Ajamil, that he did not accept the guru. He formally was not initiated, and he was totally innocent in that sense. I mean, of course, further Vishwanath Thakur says that if Ajamil thought that, okay, I don't need guru in order to progress in bhakti or to chant the holy name, then that would have been an offense to the holy name. But because he had no guru and because he did not think like that, that's why he had no offenses. Now, coming to the question of sinful activities, as also shared in this particular purport, Ajamil was very innocent in one sense. He was not able to understand like what he's doing. So he did not intend to offend the holy name by committing sinful activity. It was just his habit, a kind of addiction that he was just continuing. Okay. So what happened exactly is the very first time he chanted the name of Narayan, it was at the state of Namabhas. And when you chant at the state of Namabhas, all your karmas, past, present, and future, they are all destroyed. But the only condition is that you have to maintain the state of Namabhas throughout your life. Then only you will have a karma free life. Okay, so the next question is, if your karmas are destroyed, then you should die because your body is the result of your karma. So how are you alive? How was Ajamil alive? And how was he performing some kind of karmas? Apparently, to our external vision, it seems that he was continuing some karmas. Okay. So the answer is, again, Srila Vishwanath Thakur is explaining that just like when you have a serpent, so if you remove the poison from the serpent and the serpent will bite you, you will not have any effect. Apparently, the action is there, but there is no result or there is no effect because the poison is already removed. So now, what the Lord does is, He will actually keep a semblance of karma in the devotees so that it appears that we are performing some karma. But there are, because of course, the stage of namabhas is very important. We should not commit aparats. If we are not committing aparats in the process, then we maintain that stage and we are not incurring any karma. That's just a semblance of karma that we are performing. And the Lord, another reason that you see the devotees are doing some activities because the Lord wants to preserve the body of the devotees so that they can perform devotional service to Him. By their free will, by their choice, they can actually serve the Lord with their physical senses, mind, intelligence, everything. So this is the purpose why the Lord keeps the body of devotees alive, so they can actually render service to the Lord. At the same time, the karmas, they are all destroyed. But to external vision, to materialistic persons who do not understand this concept, they will think that devotees are also under the law of karma. Whereas devotees who are offenseless in their demeanors, they all attain the stage of namabhas. They are not regulated under the principles of karma. They are completely under the will of the Lord. Okay. So I hope it makes sense that Ajamil's so-called sinful activities, it had no effect because he had chanted the name at the state of namabhas. That destroyed all his future karmas. Rup Goswami even states that the holy name can destroy karmas that you cannot even imagine. That many karmas, infinite karmas, can be destroyed just by chanting the holy name. So this is indeed the potency of the holy name. And another wonderful insight that Srila Vishwanath Thakur gives about this is that the reason we cannot understand from the lives of the devotees is because bhakti wants to hide itself. So devotional service is a very confidential thing. For Krishna, it is very exclusive, and he does not give it to anyone. He does not give it to people who seek liberation. He only reserves it for his special devotees, for his exclusive devotees. So when you attain the state of course, that's the state of bhav and prem. It's very, very rare, very exclusive in nature. But bhakti in itself is very confidential and it is very close to the Lord's heart. So what bhakti does, bhakti will hide its glories. It will not reveal itself. Now, if bhakti will start showing its results, then what will happen? The process of karma and jnana will no longer remain in the material world because there will be no one to practice that. But because people, because of their consciousness, their influenced, because they are influenced by the modes of material nature, passion, ignorance, and goodness, they all of them will not select bhakti. Only some of them will select bhakti, and for those who do not select bhakti, at least it demands that there should be the process of jnana and karma, so they can follow the process and they can advance to a certain level, and then they can start appreciating and take up to bhakti. So that's why bhakti will hide itself, bhakti will hide its glories, and it will not give the result immediately. And that is the reason we don't see, devotees maybe performing devotional service. They are, if they are attentive, they are sincere, they are not coming approach, definitely we can say that they are beyond the laws of karma. So it's just that we are not able to see that, but their lives are not according to the law of karma, for sure. Okay, so this is how wonderfully Srila Vishwanath Thakur has explained the glories of the holy name through the example of a Jamil. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, but if devotees they have any comments or doubts about this, they can ask me later. We'll continue, and once we finish the class, then of course you can ask if there are further questions or comments. All right. Then we had also discussed about how in the purpose of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada mentions the need of surrender. Okay. So, in one of the purpose of Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe I have read this for sure, but I don't recollect where exactly. I have not been able to find the reference. But one thing I remember very thoroughly, Prabhupada saying that the reason we are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, first of all, Prabhupada says that Krishna, when he comes to the material world, he demands Sarva Dharman Pratityaja Mamekam Sharanam Praja, that everyone surrenders to me. And then Prabhupada says that because living entities are rebellious by nature, and it's very difficult to surrender to the Lord. That's why the Lord comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's asking us to chant the Hare Krishna Mantra. Today only I read in one particular CC Purport by Srila Prabhupada. He says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us Hare Krishna Mantra so that we realize that we are actually servants of the Lord. So this is in context with the purport where Prabhupada is actually criticizing and refuting the Mayavad philosophy. And then he says that the purpose of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is such that finally that we realize that we are servants of the Lord. So one thing is very clear, that because we cannot surrender, we must have some easy process in Kali Yuga. And as we know that the easiest process is chanting the holy name. But one thing is very clear from this, that ultimately our chanting of the holy name should finally lead us to the spirit of surrender to the Lord. If that is not happening, it means we have not reached the state of pure chanting. So like sometimes we may like chanting the holy name, we may increase in quantity also, but whether are we able to remember the form, qualities, pastime of the Lord, that's another thing. And whether we are able to develop the spirit of surrender to the Guru and Krishna. So these things also we have to check, because uh, it's very difficult to accept something when it hurts your ego. You cannot accept that very easily. Whereas chanting, though, you can, because it's your own will, you chant anytime, you can chant many number of rounds. But if someone will ask you to surrender yourself to a particular devotee, or you'll not be able to do it so easily. So that's why we can understand from this that ultimately the principle of chanting, and of course the meaning of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is also the same, where we are saying that, oh Radharani, please engage me in service, please engage in service of Lord, and allow me to please the Lord. So we can please the Lord, and that means pleasing has to be done according to His will and desire, not our will and desire, and that is the process of surrender. So it's a scientific process. Everything has a meaning behind it. Yeah. So one time Srila Prabhupada also said that simply chanting the holy name but not rendering practical service won't be effective. On other hand, one time Srila Prabhupada, he was like one particular Prabhupada disciple went to Prabhupada, and I think he was one of the temple presidents, and he went to Prabhupada and he complained about a devotee who was just chanting the holy name, and he was complaining to Prabhupada that he is not rendering some service. And Prabhupada said that, do you think that chanting Hare Krishna is not service? And then Prabhupada says, that is the greatest service. So Prabhupada at different times he says different things in different context. And this I've explained in one of the classes where we spoke about sadhana or seva, which is more important. I think in this particular class, I've covered this in detail. That Prabhupada said contrary things in different contexts. How do we reconcile? How do we understand that? And how do we understand what is sadhana, what is seva? So yeah, in that particular class, I have covered in detail. One particular example is from the life of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, where he lamented when books were distributed in very less quantity. So he actually wrote a letter to Srila Jiva Goswami the, describing the annual book distribution totals for the year ending with Gaur Purnima. And I will just share with you. This is recorded, okay? So this is a genuine letter. Narottam laments the poor scores and said that until someone comes along and invents the printing press, it looks like it will be impossible to develop print. He prays to take birth in that distant future so that he too can distribute books in the streets and marketplaces and get Mahaprabhu's mercy. Or what is the use of chanting or worshipping or discussing Harikatha when the book distribution scores are so low? So here Narottam Das Thakur is exemplifying the principle of service to Guru and to the Jivas. Okay, and he's actually proving that unless you do this, you cannot attain taste in chanting the holy name. So what is the use of chanting the holy name when I cannot even do my service properly? So this is the mood of the Acharya. Okay, so they set an example for everything they do. Yeah, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says in one of his classes that actually Harinam as Yug Dharma is for outsiders, but for the devotees, for the insiders, it is Vaishnav Seva. Okay. Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, one time he said that hearing and chanting are the main services, and rest all become mundane, which means rest all limbs of bhakti or services that we render become mundane if we do not do these two. So hearing and chanting, they are like Vedic couple; they cannot be divorced. All right. So Prabhupada he also explains that Krishna consciousness is a process. Without the process, kirtan is simply sound vibration. It has no real effect. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur compared it to vibration of the alphabets A, B, C, D. So Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's like you are chanting A, B, C, D. So and that's why the most important service that we do after chanting the holy name is basically to read scriptures, to read and to hear. The more we do it, the more we get taste in chanting, and the more effective and enthusiasm will be in our service to the Lord. That's the most important service that we can render. And then Srila Prabhupada again emphasizes the point that while chanting, one should focus on the bewitching form of the Lord, Gun Leela. Andhra Prabhu also in his book, I mean, not Transcendental Heart, the Heart of Transcendental Book Edition, but the biography of Andhra Prabhu. Kalachandji Prabhu has written this book. And in that book, he has described, and the name of the book is Andhra Kirtan Revolution. So there is a particular incident where a devotee goes and tells Andhra Prabhu that sannyasi has told him he should not remember the form of the Lord and he should not meditate on the pastimes of the Lord. And he should just hear the holy name. But then Narendra Prabhu corrects the devotee and he says that that is not the process. Actually, the process, according to our Acharya, is that one should uh, seek out the form of the Lord, and then one should uh, that should lead one to Nam Rupa Gunalita, like that. Yeah. So now another concept is that what is the meaning of the holy name revealing itself? So we may chant for millions of births and for we may chant millions of names for millions of births. But then the question is that pure chanting? or is the Lord going to be revealed to us through that chanting? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says no. If you commit aparadhs, then millions of names, millions of lifetimes will not attain the Lord. But just chanting purely once, one syllable of the name, you attain the feet of the Lord. Okay. So I would like to give an example of this. And this is from the book of Mool Prakriti Mataji, who is a Prabhupada disciple, and the she has written a biography of Srila Prabhupada, and she is actually sharing the pastimes that a lot of devotees, especially Gaudiya Math devotees, Prabhupada God brothers, and some of the devotees from outside, they shared, they had the experience they had with Srila Prabhupada when he was present. So she is sharing one particular incident where a particular Gaudiya Math devotee, he used to visit Prabhupada. He used to come to his room and he used to take his darshan. He had a lot of doubts and confusion about the tattva of the holy name. So, although he used to chant regularly, but because of these doubts, um, was not able to give his heart fully on the holy name. And that's why one time he got a chance in Prabhupada's room, where Prabhupada actually was lying down and he was taking rest, and suddenly he saw this devotee who was sitting in the room. So Prabhupada called him nearby. Very fortunate that Prabhupada personally called him. And then he asked, so he had a lot of questions, and till now he was not able to find answer to these questions. And so then when he was called by Prabhupada, he went to Prabhupada, he sat near Prabhupada lotus mouth, and then Prabhupada chanted the entire Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in his ears. And then he explains that the moment uh, he heard Prabhupada chanting in his ears the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he says that waterfall of mercy and Siddhant started pouring and flooding him with knowledge and satisfaction which he never experienced before. And each and every question were answered beyond imagination. So see, this is the power of the holy name. This is the power of pure devotee of the Lord also. They don't even have to speak to you. Just by their chanting, everything is revealed to you. So of course, this is a very mystic opulence. It's very rare, does not happen frequently, but it shows the power and glory of the holy name. That this is the process. The holy name is actually revealed to the devotee, to the chanter. It is not that you can demand from Krishna that okay, I'm going to make a vow that I will be chanting 192 rounds, 64 rounds, 128 rounds, and I will be doing it for the entire Chaturmasya or this and that. You cannot purchase the Lord. The Lord has to reveal Himself, and when He sees that you are sincerely trying to serve Him with humility, then that's why the Lord is called Bhavagrai and Sargai. So He will see the bhav of the devotee, emotions of the devotee, and the essence of the devotee's bhav, Sargai. One particular example is that of Bali Maharaj. So he was not able to offer obeisances to Vamandev when he appeared. But in the mind, he actually offered obeisances to Lord Vamandev. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that this is the way the Lord will accept your devotion. So the Lord sees the intention. The intention is the most important, and the essence of that is the essence of the entire devotion is the most important. The Lord will extract that and He will accept it. Uh, so Gaur Kishore Das Babari Maharaj once said that your Swarupa will be revealed by the syllables of the holy name. So this is something similar that the Prabhupada pastime that I shared with you. Uh, so the holy name, just by chanting the holy name, many questions can automatically be answered. Because see, one thing is there, and I think I've repeatedly mentioned this. For chanting the holy name purely, you require Sambandh Gyan. And Sambandh Gyan is given by the Guru. That's why we need a Guru. Because the Guru will teach us the process of Krishna consciousness. What should be done, what should not be done, what is favorable, what is not favorable, in how much quantity we should do, what should be the priority, at what particular circumstances. So this is all taught by the Guru. If you Otherwise, what is the need of Guru? You have the holy name, you have scriptures, you just take out any mantra, you just start chanting the name, but it will not give you any result, because along with the name comes the knowledge. So if you don't have the knowledge, how can you approach the holy name also? Like, for example, before coming to ISKCON, we had this pre-notion about the Hare Krishna Mahamatra. Some of the people, they have this conception that Hare Krishna and Hare Krishna Mahamatra has name of Hari, Krishna and Ram, which is Lord Ramchandra, Krishna and Hari. But after coming to ISKCON, we understand it is not Lord Hari, Vishnu, Ram, and it is Krishna. I mean, of course, one of the conception is it can be like that, but for devotees who are willing to serve Radha Krishna, they don't even want to worship Vaikuntha, Vishnu in Vaikuntha. They don't even want to worship Krishna in Dwarka and Mathura. They only want to worship Krishna in Vrindavan. For them, the Hare means Radharani, Krishna means Krishna, Ram means Krishna, and uh, all these represents the conjugal names of Krishna and Radharani. Right? So the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a conceptual mantra. You can get whatever you like to desire from it. If you want material benefits, benedictions, you want to attain heavenly planets, if you want to attain liberation, if you want to go back to Vaikuntha, if you want to go to Goloka, Hare Krishna Mahamantra can give you everything. So depending on your level of approach, the Lord will reciprocate accordingly. Okay. So this is the meaning of revelation of the Holy Name. And now I think it should be clear from what we discussed is that the most important element for chanting the holy name is pure chanting. How do we come to pure chanting? Pure chanting, we can come by Sambandh Gyan. Who is giving Sambandh Gyan? Guru. Guru gives a process that we need to follow, and that process also requires to surrender to the Guru and the Lord. Then, when we are following the process properly, the Lord will actually reveal Himself to us because He is pleased by our effort. He has laid a path for us, and if He sees that, okay, we accept the path and we follow according to His will, then this is the path of love. This is the path of surrender. Right? So one can clearly understand. So the Lord will appreciate that, He will reciprocate, and finally He'll bring you to the stage of from right from Shraddha to Bhav to Prem, and He will reveal Himself to you. So whenever the Lord appears in our heart, that is the stage of Bhava and Prem. And below that, of course, we'll get the experiences of the other stages. So there are symptoms and there are stages, and I will cover that in another class. I would like to cover on. I would like to speak on the class of Madhurya Kadambini, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is also explaining on the stages of a devotee's life, right from Shraddha to Prema. How do they attain and how do they go forward, and what are the symptoms of all these stages? So Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, Bhajana Kriya, Nishtar, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtar, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem. These are 9 stages of bhakti. And one can only see the Lord face to face at the stage of Bhav, not before that. So at the stage of Asakti, you get some kind of impressions or flashes of the Lord. Some kind of, like, there is a flash of lightning, and for some moment it will appear and then it will disappear, like that. But at the stage of Bhav, actually, you can perceive the Lord. So these are some of the points which are very important. And there is, I think, more detail to be covered. Maybe we can continue the next class, but maybe we can stop here now and we can take questions, because last time I think when we stopped after 1 hour, the question answer session continued for almost 1 hour. So I would like to give devotees a chance to ask questions or comments. I think that would be appropriate, and we can spare some good amount of time with that. Hare Krishna, thank you all the devotees. Yeah, so let's bring up some questions and comments here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Geeta. Thank you so much for this very important class as in terms of our bhakti. Um, so we can, like you said, we can see flashes in the when we are in pure bhakti. But in the first, like I
At the stage
must,
of asakti, not before that.
yeah. So one is doing bhakti, one can have the form of the Lord in in the form of our Ishta, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean the form that you are most attracted and attached to.
Right. And then after that, Prabhuji, many times, after we see the Lord across, when, the deities across us when we are sitting, then I also, visualize the deity in my heart. And I'm sitting across and he's in my heart. So the same Ishta form is in my heart. Is that correct?
I mean, of course, the Lord is present in everyone's heart, but when He's directly in front of you, see, generally, what we have observed is and noticed is that the acharyas, they are craving for the physical presence of the Lord, the association of the physical form of the Lord. So even though the Lord is in the heart, but still they want physical association outside, like that. That's what we see in the Brajvasi separation from Krishna, especially the gopis. So they are always in separation from the Lord. They are anchoring the association of the Lord. Although the Lord is present in the heart of everyone. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, of course, unless you read the state of bhav, you cannot even perceive the Lord. So before that, whatever you are perceiving is just a reflection of that, and that is basically your mental conception also. It's like you are okay. It is coming naturally to you, that form of the Lord, but it is not different from the deity. So when the deity is in front of you, then you just have to focus on that. That's it.
Yeah. So what you're saying in the heart is not important.
Uh, it's we don't need to meditate separately in the heart or imagine something when especially we have the deities in front of us.
Uh-huh. Okay, Prabhuji.
Now, of course, that it's a different thing that you have gone to some other temple and there is some other deity form. It's not your most favorite form of the Lord. Then yeah, then of course you can. Uh, so one particular angle of vision is that when you see any other form of the Lord, which is not your favorite form of the Lord, then you have to seek your form of the Lord in that particular deity. So that deity has to remind you of your most favorite form of the Lord.
Right.
That's
Right.
how is your Ishtadev, because you like a particular form like no one else. So you'll see that form everywhere.
Yes, Prabhuji. So in the Mahamantra, you said even Ram is Krishna only, like Radha Rani and Lord Krishna, right? Hare Krishna.
Ram is actually, see, in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can reverse everything. Hare can also become Krishna. Krishna can also mean Radharani. And I will share uh, the revelation of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is given by Srila Jeev Goswami. And there you will see how Krishna is also Radha.
Yeah.
So depending on the pastime, particular pastime, for example, in one of the pastimes, Radharani becomes Krishna. She will dress herself like Krishna. So in that form, Krishna can be referred to as Radharani because she is the one who is dressing as Krishna. So that
Correct.
way, the name reveals the pastime. Now you understand. Name is revealing the
Mhm.
pastime. Why it is called Hare? Hare. What is the meaning of Hare? One who steals the mind. Okay. So whenever the gopis they hear Krishna's flute, then their minds they are stolen away by the flute of Krishna's sound. Whenever Krishna sees the gopis, his heart is completely stolen away and he becomes unconscious. So that can refer to both. Hare can mean Radha and it can mean Krishna also. So it is
Right.
interchangeable like that. I mean, it all depends. It is all revelation of the holy name. And so similarly, Ram is the one who gives pleasure to his beloved, and that is Krishna. But at the same time, it can also be referred to uh, Ram can also refer to Radharani because she is the one who gives pleasure to Krishna the most. So that it will take a different personality like that. The name can take
Yeah.
a different form like that.
Yeah, I till today thought that Mahamantra means Lord Krishna, Radharani, and Lord Rama. I didn't know it was not
No,
Lord
no,
Rama.
that is Rasabhas. That's what we thought earlier, right? Because Rama means Lord Ramchandra. Prabhupada says
Yeah.
Ram can mean Parshuram, it can mean Balram, it can mean Ram also. But you cannot mix Ram with Radha. When you have Krishna, you can say Ram. Okay, that's fine. But Radha Tattva is only with Krishna. So Chaitanya
Yes.
Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna, yes. But you cannot combine Radharani with any other form of the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay,
Hi,
any
Krishna
other
Prabhuji.
questions?
Dana Pranam. Gracious Prabhupada. As usual, your classes are deep into the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu aspect, the Rasa aspects, which are generally out of bounds for a lot of us sadhakas who are in the lower modes. But your classes are still so wonderful that it helps us get a glimpse of the what sadhaka is likely to see and likely to experience. And accordingly, I mean, to attain that should follow in the sadhana. So it's so nice, and you always stressed upon that, and you read, and I also try to read, I mean, reiterate myself in my mind that the naam should be preceded by the sambandha again. That is, you said correctly that I mean that exemplified that so very important. Uh, and yes, the sambandha gyan is the primary thing, and for that, sambandha is so important. And to Mataji's the heart that he said that um, uh, the the three forms of the Lord are in the one is that Brahmati, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Sabdasa. Paramatma form is the 400 Vishnu form, who resides Kanadaksha Vishnu in the heart. So yes, the Ashtanga Yogi at the highest level is supposed to meditate upon Paramatma, but that process is made easier by the bhakti because we have the deity form, and that and yet and at the same time we are achieving the results and much better because we are offering all our senses to his service. Uh, and also the Lord is 200 in the deity form. We can have to 200 Lord. Now, of course, somebody's Easter could be Narayan, and he can okay. Then also he can have the Narayan in front of him as a deity form. So yes, I mean but that is difficult, and it is also it doesn't have that uh, the surrender at the beginning part. That is, we are surrendering at the outset. We are surrendering all our senses, all our things to him, and then so that makes I mean, the Sarvadharman Parityaja, he basically qualifies as per the Sarvadharman Parityaja that Krishna wants at the very end of the Bhagavad Gita. See, if I'm mistaken, Prabhuji can correct me. I just wanted to add this little thing I had
Actually, like
idea.
your voice is a bit low, and what exactly is the question? I could hear most of the part that you were sharing, but I think at the end I was not able to hear what exactly is the question. I think you were talking about Paramatma and something.
Yes, Mataji's question was about Paramatma, right? So, the preeminence is of is a Brahmeti Paramatmeti. Is the form is sought after by the devotees, whereas the Paramatma form is a 400 Vishnu form that the Ashtanga yogis will meditate upon at the Dharana, what is that last one? Dharana and Samadhi stage. So yeah, but it is so difficult first of all, and the second thing is the in the bhakti yoga, which is Susakam Katmabhaya, which so joyously performed because we are surrendering all our senses and our senses are also getting satisfied. So at the outset, so and also we have the 200 form of the Lord. So that's my point.
Okay, so as far as I understand, what you're asking is the form in the heart is 400 form, but we are worshipping 200 form, and the deity form is 200 form. So how to understand this, right?
Yes, I'm trying to establish the supremacy of the bhakti, with that is that the deity form of bhakti over the Paramatma meditation.
Okay. See, one thing for devotees, Paramatma is definitely there in the heart of everyone. But for the devotees and who are attached to a particular form of the Lord, so in their heart also, it is not the Paramatma, it is the most favorite form of the Lord. So for the devotees and who especially who are the worshippers of Krishna, Lord Ram, depending on your attraction to a particular form of the Lord, that form will manifest in the heart. And that you can say is the Paramatma for us also. So you don't have to separately meditate on the Paramatma or seek out Paramatma in the heart. Your most favorite form of the Lord is always with you in the heart. In fact, I would also say that see, there is the concept of the Swayam Roop and the Swayam Prakash form of the Lord. Rup Goswami explained this. And what is the difference between Swayam Roop and Swayam Prakash? So Swayam Roop is the original form of the Lord, or you can say the starting point, the origin of all the forms, because that Swayam Rupa expands himself into billions of forms, and that forms are, it can be called as Swayam Prakash as long as the all the other forms, they are totally identical to the Swayam Rupa form. So these are Swayam Prakash forms. Now Swayam Prakash forms, they are unlimited. They are spread unlimitedly throughout the creation. Okay. So although we hear that Shivakshay Vishnu is the one which is present in every nook and corner of the universe, in all the atoms, in the big, big universes, in our heart. But this Shivakshay Vishnu is the one thing we need to understand. This is a temporary form of the Lord because it's a Purusha avatar of the Lord. And Shirodakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, as long as the material universe is there, that long only they exist. It is actually the Karanadakshay Vishnu is eternal and which is lying on the Viraj. So that form is eternal. And one thing we need to understand that again it's a Paramatma feature of the Lord. It's the Paramatma. Now, what is Paramatma feature of the Lord? Paramatma feature of the Lord is a Purusha avatar that is specifically uh, it has specifically taken avatar in order to accomplish the activities in the material world. So whatever is required for the material creation, that is all done by the Purushas. So, so these are all Purusha avatars. But then we have, beyond that, we have the abode of Vaikuntha. Beyond that, we have abode of Lord Ram. And then beyond that, we have Goloka. And Goloka, we have divisions like Dwarka, Mathura, and then ultimately the top of that is Braj or Gokul. So we are worshipping that form. I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the form of 200 form of Krishna Sham Sundar. Aradhya Vrajesh Tanaya Taddamo Vrindavanam. So that form of Krishna is actually worshipped by us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave that 200 form of Krishna, who is in Braj. worshipped by the gopis. So this is now the example of Swayam Prakash is the forms that Krishna assumed during the Ras Leela pastime. The form that Krishna assumed in when he married the 16,108 queens. So this is the example our acharyas give, that Swayam Prakash means the forms that are totally identical to the original form. Okay. So when we talk about the Swayam Prakash forms, they are unlimitedly present throughout the material universe also. Not just in the spiritual world, but in the material world also. But they appear and disappear at their own will. So generally, the deity forms are closely resembling those Swayam Prakash form of the Lord. Okay. Prabhupada says in one CC purport that all the deities that we have in our movement, they are eternally present in their Vaikuntha abodes. So these are eternal forms and they are eternally present. So what is the meaning of that? It means that when we install the deities, when we start worshipping the deities, the Swayam Prakash form will actually appear in front of us in the form of the deity. And when the deities are no longer present, they will disappear. Or when the worship is not done according to the standards of devotional principle, then they will disappear on their own will. So they will appear, they will disappear. But they are always present. It's just that they will appear before our eyes and they will disappear from our eyes. But they are present, they are all pervading, like Shirodakshari Vishnu, who is the Paramatma and is all pervading. So this form is actually, this is the form that we are supposed to conceive as devotees. Of course, like now if you are worshipping Vaikuntha Narayan, then Narayan will manifest in your heart. But one thing I would like to say is that the Swayam Prakash forms, these are actually the forms that the devotees worship, because totally non-different from the original form of Lord. So I hope it makes sense. Okay. So any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madhama Pranam to you. Shubhapat ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you. Nice hearing from you after a little break. I came back 15th April. So, yes, Prabhuji, like, one thing they say that the meaning of Mahamantra is to, please engage us in your loving devotional service, right? We pray to Krishna that, rather than Krishna, please engage us in your service. So basically, one question always comes to my mind is that, when we do services like, temple cooking and all, generally in the material world, the definition of service is, you're serving another person is there. In the kitchen, you're serving, or, you're giving a class, or you're cleaning, that seva is there. But when we talk about, service to the holy name, then I feel that how does that come in that category of seva? Because we are just at least I'm saying for myself, we are, kind of mechanically chanting. So many times we miss out, syllables, and also like there are so many mistakes and things like that. So, like I feel this kind of seva, if this is also seva, then this is never ever done properly. This is from my side, I'm saying, but maybe other sevas I can do properly, like, cutting vegetables nicely, doing the dishes, cleaning, all those things. So, how we can, like, think of this also, like, and do perfectly this seva? How
Yeah,
can we
good question. Yeah. So see, that's why Srila Prabhupada gave us a lot of physical services, because we cannot chant the name constantly. That is the problem, because our mind is totally distracted in Kali Yuga, and it is also filled with a lot of anxiety, stress on day-to-day activities, lifestyle, and everything. So in material world, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is in the forefront and all the services in the background. Whereas in the spiritual world, you have the services at the forefront and chanting in the background, which means that devotees are constantly chanting within themselves and externally they're performing services. So Yashoda Maya also is churning butter and she's feeding milk to Krishna and all these are external activities, but internally she's always chanting Krishna's name. Similarly, the gopis also and the cowherd boys and all. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said that 99% of your progress in bhakti will depends on chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this, of course, now why are we doing physical services? In one sense, it is to, of course, to bring us to the level of pure chanting. Ultimately, all the services that we are doing, if our minds are not absorbed, if our motives are not clear, then that will not serve the purpose. So uh, there are different levels of understanding what is the meaning of serving the holy name. Uh, and it will all depend on the different stages of bhakti. So at the stage of Shraddha, you will just chant the holy name and you will try to hear as much as possible. At the stage of Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, Bhajana Kriya, uh, I mean, of course, generally the process will start after your Bhajana Kriya, when devotees will ask you to start doing some bhajan. And then gradually anartha nivritti will happen and then you come to steadiness. So steadiness is a stage at which you will actually be focused now. And that's why the acharyas, they say that at the state of, I think it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur who says, and I will share this in the next class from Harinam Chintamani also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that at the state of Nishtha, the form is manifested to you, which means that you will be able to easily remember the form of the Lord at the stage of Nishtha. When you are steady, there are no disturbances. Of course, it is easier to remember the Lord, right? So it's a very natural sequence. And then at the stage of Ruchi, you will be able to taste the qualities of the Lord. You'll be able to appreciate the qualities of the Lord. And at this stage of Asakti, you will be able to focus on the, you'll be able to remember the pastimes of the Lord. Nam, Rup, Gun, Leela. And then at the state of Bhav, you can directly perceive the Lord, right? So the entire goal, the entire process of doing physical service is to make us Bhajananandi internally, which means that think of the Lord and his pastimes constantly. Or at least whatever I'm doing, whatever service I'm rendering, it's all meant for the pleasure of the Lord. That has to be the consciousness. And it should be assisted with remembering the Lord at all times. That's why Rupa Goswami also says that ultimately everything that we are doing is meant to remember Krishna and never forget him. So this is the essential principle of our, the foundational principle of our spiritual activities, all spiritual activities, to always remember. So basically, what does that mean? It means ultimately it should go to the mind. The bhakti has to be in the mind. It should be cultivated in the mind, which means that you have to be absorbed in the form, the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. That is the goal of external service as far as we are concerned, we sadhakas are concerned. So it starts with external form of service, and then it should internalize. So gradually it should go internally. That means that your bhajan has to be very strong. It should become very strong with time. When your bhajan is strong, at one point of time you will be able to chant and relish the holy name constantly. So basically it means that even if physical service is not there, still you will be able to remember. So that's why in the Bhagavad Gita also, you'll say that Krishna says that whoever remembers me at the time of death will come to me. Antkale cha mam evam swaranam mukta kalevaram. So he's saying smaranam mukta kalevaram. He's not saying kirtanam mukta kalevaram. Smaranam. Because the idea is that even if your senses are not working, physical senses are not active, they are not working, uh, but still your mind is active. So even if you are able to remember me, you will still be able to attain me. Right? So this is how we understand the context. That and yeah, of course, it may be easy also to chant the holy name in terms of hearing the sound, but actually, are we really chanting? That real chanting is basically that Naam has to lead to Rup Guna Leela, like that. So that's how we understand that we are actually attentive in our chanting. We are getting taste in the chanting. The more we chant the name attentively, the more it will lead us to Naam Rupa Guna Leela. The more we are absorbed in Leela, the more we are close to the state of Asakti. Okay, that's how we understand. I mean, you cannot come to state of Asakti unless you are really detached from the material world, because there is nothing to disturb you then. You are able to focus constantly on the name, form, qualities, pastime of the Lord, like that. So, as Prabhupada stated, the entire purpose of all the services that we are doing is basically to take shelter of the holy name at the end of the day. So, 99% progress will depend on chanting the name, like that. So, I hope it makes sense, Bhavari.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the answer, and also a wonderful class. Like Geeta Vataji was saying, very nice class today. And focus was on chanting only. So we have to keep on repeatedly hearing, to be able to keep observing, like always keep that consciousness of how we improve our chanting. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think the most important principle is to hear maximum, uh, uh, as much as you are able to hear Shravanam from Guru Sadhu Shastra, that much that will have effect on your chanting of the name. It will give you a lot of taste also. So especially the books of our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada books, the books of the acharyas, if you read, understand them thoroughly, then they will bestow a very wonderful taste.
So, Prabhuji, when you say hearing, so we can put on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra bhajans on YouTube and listen to it also while doing our work.
Yeah, of course. I mean, hearing kirtans, I mean, this is something that I do regularly. I mean, my kirtans are going on almost for hours and hours, especially Andhra Prabhu's kirtan. I mean, Andhra Prabhu has given us such kirtans that you cannot live without them. I mean, if you stop them, you feel that something is missing. And especially Andhra Prabhu kirtans, what we realize is that just by hearing his kirtans, Nam Rupa Guna Leela, everything is there in his kirtans. I mean, because immediately you can connect with the tunes, the rags, what kind of pastime is being performed. When there are some tunes that you will feel that, okay, Radharani is separation from Krishna, Krishna is in separation from Radharani, and then some kirtans are in such a way that they are constantly associating with each other, like fun loving kind of kirtans, the tunes and everything. So Andhra Prabhu kirtans, they have this kind of effect. Once you start loving them, you cannot leave that. So that will also definitely help you. And of course, but what I mean to say is, when you are hearing, you try to hear as much as possible the scriptures. I mean, read the scriptures or hear the scriptures, because they will provide you a lot of sambandh gyan on Krishna's uh, pastimes, his associates, paraphernalia, and the tattva, everything. So that will help you to build your foundation for the holy name. It will also give you, um, you can say, a treasure house that will help you to follow in the footsteps of the acharyas. When we say that, okay, when you're practicing Raganuga Bhakti, it is basically you follow the mood and sentiment of a particular devotee in Raj. So you will become familiar to that mood. You will, in your sadhaka, you will start thinking in terms of the moods of the acharyas. So that will also simultaneously lead us to the mood of the Rajvasis in the spiritual world. So very, very important, extremely important. It is, for me, especially the books of the acharyas, kirtans, they are like my lifeline, especially for the holy name. Without, I mean, I cannot separate reading scriptures. It's impossible, because ultimately the taste will come from the mercy of the acharyas, the way they have described Krishna, the way they have revealed Krishna's personality to us. That's only possible when you actually come across the books of the acharyas. Mahajano
Yes,
yena
Prabhu.
gata sapanta, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. You cannot understand the Lord and his principles without following the footsteps of the acharyas. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. Only by the mercy of the pure devotees you'll actually be able to understand the Lord and his pastimes and everything.
Is that available in the audio form, Prabhuji?
You can try for that, but I'm not sure. Of course, most of the books are available in the Kindle version, so you will be able to read them. But I'm not sure if any devotee has. But yeah, what you can do, I will give you an idea. If you have Microsoft Word in your mobile, if you have
Yes.
that app, what you can do is if you copy paste whatever books you are reading in Kindle, or let's say you have some soft copy, if you copy paste and like copy and paste it in the Word file, now they have started this option of audio also. So you can turn on the audio, and then the by the help of the artificial intelligence, someone will start speaking. So you can just hear it if you are not able to read it. So you can also hear it from the AI platform. I don't know if someone is doing that, but that's also another way, very practical way to read. I mean, to hear the books of the acharyas. So I'm not sure if some devotees have done that in the audio form. Um, but
Thank you, Prabhuji.
yeah, but I would also suggest reading is the best option, because that way you can make notes. You can copy paste some references that you like to share with others also.
Yeah,
And this is something
and
you
also
do nowadays.
reflect. Yeah, it gives you time to reflect on it on your at your
Yeah,
own
yeah,
pace. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, like for example, you can keep focusing on reading a particular text for good amount of time,
Yes.
per several times. So,
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So
Okay.
also, Prabhuji, you mentioned that Gokul is the, like, I don't know in which context you were mentioning, but like Gokul is considered to be the highest amongst all the places like Vrinda in Dwarka, Mathura. Gokul is supposed, like, is that right?
Yeah, that's the highest dham in terms of rasa, of course. See, the form of Krishna is the only form that displays maximum qualities of the absolute truth. No other form displays that many qualities. We had an entire session on this. If you remember, I was talking about the how Krishna has, of course, he has 64 qualities that is described by Rupa Goswami, but then Jiva Goswami also further adds that only Krishna can bestow the greatest happiness to the living entities. He's the one who can only destroy the greatest suffering. He's the one who is the cause of all causes, and he's the one who surpasses everyone. So these are four unique features of Krishna that you'll never find with any other form of the Lord. That's why he's called Supreme Personality of Godhead. So only Krishna can give liberation to the demons. No other form of the Lord can actually bestow liberation to the demons. Then only Krishna can bestow the greatest amount of happiness to his devotees. No other form of the Lord can do that. Only Krishna is the cause of all causes. From Krishna, everything has manifested. And is only Krishna who surpasses everyone in terms of displaying qualities. So these are all unique features of Krishna. So when you know who is this Krishna, then of course we have the pastimes of Krishna. And in the pastime, then you come to the state of rasa. So when you have rasas, then you identify that only in Gokul, in Vrindavan, you have Krishna in Madhurya rasa. Whereas in other dhams like Mathura and Dwarka, it is mixed with Aishwarya Gyan, which means that you see Krishna as the Supreme Lord to some extent. Whereas in Vraj, you only see him as your friend, your lover, or your as your caretaker, as being in the mood of servant, and then as your son being in the mood of Yashoda Maiya or Nand Maharaj in Vatsalya Bhav, like that. So you have all these rasas only existing with Krishna. You don't have with anyone else. You don't even have with Lord Ram. And then what to speak of Vishnu in Vaikuntha, and then what to speak of Lord Shiva. You don't have any loving affairs with Lord Shiva. No one has that. No one can do that. You cannot even have any mischief with Lord Shiva or with Lord Vaikuntha or Narayan. So this is only exclusive to Krishna's personality. Okay, and that's why whatever is, and one of the points that I was going to mention is that it is only Krishna's name that can bestows the greatest type of benediction compared to the names of all the other forms of Lord. That's also another thing.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just 1 second, I will come back.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, all right. Any more questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much for this nectar class on this special Ekadashi day. And and it will it gives us to chant more. Like usually we do more chanting on Ekadashi day. So this will help us to do more serious chanting and grow in our bhakti. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's all because of the mercy of the Guru Parampara that I am able to share. And of course, if it helps you in any way, then that would be blessings on me. So thank you all the devotees for joining, and we'll continue the session next class in the month
Yes,
of.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Chitra Mataji. Your daughter Radha, she's here too. So happy.
Hari bol. Yeah, she was putting her hands up earlier.
Hi, Prabhu.
Hari bol. JJ?
Thank
Jay.
you, Radha. Hari bol.
Hari bol.
Hari
She said
bol.
goodbye. She gave you a kiss.
Very sweet and cute.
Yes. Oh. That's so nice, so cute.
Yeah, her name is Radha Prabhuji. Please give her your blessings. I want her to become very good devotee.
Actually, I'm not blessed to. I'm not qualified to bless anyone, but definitely my best prayers and wishes that
Yeah, pray for her.
she
Yeah.
can follow in the footsteps of Radharani.
Yeah, I have named her Radha Prabhuji coincidentally
That's great.
because I got her with great difficulty at a late age. So I gave her a Krishna conscious name. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's pay obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Panchakalpatarvasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah and devotee Vaishnava ki jai. Jai Das Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Premarasa ki jai.
Jai.
Ekadashi Mahotsava ki jai. Thank
Jai.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Happy
Thank you,
Ekadashi.
Prabhuji. Happy Ekadashi. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji and all devotees. Hare Krishna.